Have you had anybody
live
mention that?
streaming.
Yeah. So I apologize to the live stream viewers. I forgot to turn the stream quickly enough. So, so the question right now was with regard to the warning about the room name. So yeah, we are aware of that message, and it's something that you can configure for your own deployment. And you certainly should configure it in a way that is like if your deployments don't need that, then by all means turn it off. If you have other authentication means, we cannot take it off of Meet Jitsi simply because there are real issues with people using simplistic names and other people barging into their calls and very undesirable stuff happening. So unfortunately, there's I don't see a good way to deal with that. I suppose the only thing we could do is no, actually, I don't see what we could do. People,
I'm just bringing it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm just bringing it to your attention that it's scaring people because of the security.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to scare people.
Yeah, you might want to reword it and say Jitsi is very secure. Something
Going
positive.
so it really depends on what you mean by secure. If
It's the language.
Well, I'm trying to say that the language is intentional. It's supposed to be scary. If you are a child going into a room with an easily guessable name, then other people may end up in that room with the child, which is scary.
That's understood, and I agree with that concept. However, it is scaring new users, and they're not sure how to handle it. So I was just asked to bring it to your attention to recommend consideration of a new wording.
Which would be less scary, which would then potentially take away from the objective. So are we talking about Meet Jitsi, or are we talking about another installation?
This was Meet Jitsi that was being pointed out.
So the disadvantage that we're facing here is that Meet Jitsi is a very public platform that is used by many. If you are using Meet Jitsi to conduct meetings where this sort of messaging is superfluous and necessary, then I would suggest running your own deployment and configuring it without that message. That's probably something you could do. Yana?
I just wanted to say that I understand that both arguments, and maybe something that we can do for midges specifically is to add an example of a room name that would be secure, that could help maybe help users understand that what is actually insecure here is the room name, the short room name. So maybe if we can add to the warning some example or suggestion, it would be. But then some people that are less experienced can end up just typing that suggestion and ending up in the same room with many other people. So I don't know.
Again, I think this is a tough compromise, and the compromise is always going to be either we take away from the urgency of the messaging, by which case we compromise some of the goal, or we're going to have people that just kind of sort of skim through the message, don't really read it, and leave with the wrong conclusions. And that's a slider that we would always, specifically on Meet Jitsi, always push further in the direction of we'd rather scare away some people who didn't read the message with attention than but hopefully also scare away people who should be scared away. Again, me Jitsi is just a sample deployment. It's not, it has a certain audience in mind, and if it's not serving your purposes exactly, and the audience that you would like to use it with, well, that's why we have given all of our code to the world for free, and you can run your own, and configure it the way you think it should be configured. I understand it's not fully satisfying. It cannot be fully satisfying for everyone. And we have the property here posted by Wayne, for how you can handle this when you are, how you can change your config.js on your own deployment so that you don't see this. You can also include that in your links if you're inviting people, as a you know as one way to handle it. Just add that to the link, and then the people that you invite will not see that message. I realize this. None of this is a perfect solution, but also I don't think there is a perfect solution here, unfortunately. Hope that makes sense. Any other questions or comments? What is expected in 2024 in terms of main features? That is a great question. So, a while ago, we started experimenting with embedding various integrations in the 8x8 meetings platform, and AI and large language models specifically. We are likely going to open source some of that, in the near future. So U is going to present our framework on FOSDEM. So that's going to be, part of it. Like, we already have summarizations, and we've also done embeddings with Whisper. So all of this is likely going to continue. Our 10,000 participant effort is still en route. We're currently testing it. So that's another effort that will continue. And the more we talk about this, the 10,000 participant, the more 10,000 becomes, just a stopgap number. This is the architecture that we're likely going to continue using for larger conferences, if that appears to be a path that people want to use Jitsi for. Now, the thing about AI specifically, but also for 10,000, is that those are features that would that they're essentially both expensive, so they would only likely appear in deployments of Jitsi that are, typically part of another business. So that would be something like the 8x8 business, or people that are embedding this in their own applications. It wouldn't be realistic to expect that one server deployment of Jitsi is going to come with support for 10,000 people. Whiteboards are likely going to get to production soon. Well, soon. That's a not very meaningful word. I hope in the first quarter of this year. And the last major missing piece here is whiteboards for mobile. And what else do we have planned? Let me see. we're also working on a bunch of changes to Jitsi as a service, which really isn't, directly related to the open source Jitsi project. So I'm not going to take away community attention on this. But yeah, I suppose those are the main ones. Now, the interesting thing about this AI integration platform that we're going to discuss is that it paves the way to bot participants. So depending on how much interest and adoption we see of this thing, we may end up with a full-fledged bot mechanism. That's my hope, at least. Yeah, I think that's as much as we have planned, set in stone for 2024. And sorry, I mistakenly triggered some music here. And then obviously 90% of what we end up doing in a specific year is stuff that wasn't planned upfront. So I suppose we'll be full of surprises this year, just as any other year. So question from Wayne, is there a way to disable the offer to use Google Calendar in Jitsi Meet? Yeah, you can do so on your own deployment. You can't do it on Meet Jitsi.
There's no command line switch for it.
I'm sorry?
Is there a command line switch that could be used?
I'm not sure. You mean a config parameter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure. Maybe Christo or Oriana, if you have the answer off the top of your head. If not, when you can ask the question on community, or we'll have it. I'll make sure I have it next time we have a community call.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll try to check. I don't know it on the top of my head.
Okay. So yeah, either ask the question or we'll have it next time. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, then I suppose that was all for our first call this year. Very happy 2024 to everyone. And thank you for joining. Bye-bye.